So I've got the rough planing done on both sides of the bench tops. The very top we'll leave to the very end till we get it all built and it's all put together, anchored to the floor, and then we'll go about flush or leveling this all out. It's far from it now, but I just knocked off the glue, put a smooth edge on it. So it's kind of a, you might look at this and think this is a very strange design. I know I did too the first time I saw it. I'd never seen anything like this before, but it makes so much sense to me now. That this center section here is called a well, and it's a place to store your tools while you're working. One thing that I've noticed working when I have my sharp chisels and my fine tools that I don't want to drop on the floor, when I'm working a piece of material on my bench, you'll swing it around to get a different angle on it and then knock your chisel on the ground, and well, you know what happens there. So this is just brilliant to have this. This way your tools can be stored on the inside. They won't roll off the bench. They won't roll away. It's deep enough where you can put pretty much anything you wanted to. Even your planes, if you want to, you can lay them here on their sides and then pass over. All your material, again, will just span across here, and you don't have to worry about it. So beautiful, beautiful design. So what I've got two 2x4s in here. I'm trying to determine how big I want this well to be, and I want it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to put two 2x6s. So the next job we have to do is to laminate 6 2x6s together. 2 for the skirts on the sides, right down here on both sides, and then 2 for the middle. So let's go about getting that started right now. I find it so funny with all the tools that I have, I don't have a basic set of carpenter's tools to do proper carpentry work. It's amazing to me. Piles and piles of tools and all the wrong ones, or for this job anyway. So a couple things that I got that I'll share with you. This one here is really fantastic. I found this last night. I've been looking for one of these for a long time. My neighbor had one when I got my original draw knife, but he wouldn't part with it. And I didn't know if I'd ever come across one. Norble's Manufacturing, I believe. 1857. But the thing about it is it's adjustable. You see the teeth on there? So I think they were the very first to patent that adjustable draw knife, and several people have copied it, but you can see there these rotate in those teeth, and you can adjust it. You could adjust it straight up, and you could pull this way if you wanted to. Each tooth, I think, is 15 degrees. 15 degrees of adjustment there. And the thing about this one, again, I got it at the antique shop, just down below not too far from here. It's just rock solid. It doesn't have any wiggle in it whatsoever. Really nice. Hardwood handles. And the thing that I was really looking at it close last night, when you look at the polish on the blade, see, this one's ground angles on both sides. My other one is a chisel grind. It's flat on one side. But you can just see from the polish and the condition of the edge, unfortunately they had a piece of tape on it, that this belonged to someone who knew how to sharpen tools and probably knew how to look after them. Be interesting to know the history of that, isn't it? A 6-inch adjustable draw knife. Very welcome addition to my toolbox. Another thing I got is just a basic Stanley combination square, which I'm not very happy with because it's not registering as square. I checked it a couple times and it's off. Made in England. I don't know if that's the case, but you know, when you pay $13 for something, it stands to reason. There doesn't seem to be really any middle ground on these things. It's either the really bottom barrel, or there is a company that makes real nice precision combination squares, but I priced them and I think they're like $80. I just can't do it. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. On the good side, I got this little, now I can't think of the name of it. It's a square to measure angles. Oh, I can't remember. It'll come to me. But this one here I thought was a tremendous value. I got this one on Amazon too. Made in Japan by Shinwa. All stainless steel. It's got a brass knob on there. And it was cheap. It was like, what it was, it's like 13, 14, 15 bucks. Let's see if I can put a link in the video for that. But best one I've ever seen. Really nice, and it's really flat. You could store it in a toolbox. And then of course I got a small tape measure. I've always used the great big tape measures, usually like 30 footers, 25, 30 footers. But Paul Sellers made the good point. If you're working on a bench, you don't need any more than a 6-foot tape measure, 10-foot tape measure. It doesn't make sense to have those gigantic ones. Yeah, he's right about that. So $3 for that. So let's get back to our gluing. So here I've got the 6 2x6s, and I've got them all planed down so they're flat hard edges on there and mated together. And so what we're going to do is we're going to glue all 3 of these, just a simple glue joint, just like this right here. I'm going to glue these together. This one here will go in the middle in the well between the 2 benches. These will be in the skirts on the side, which will all things will be made clear when they dry. I'll show you. But so let's go ahead and get these glued up, and then it's time to start using our brand new chisels, and they're not sharp. So we're gonna have to go about getting those things set up. So I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, so let's glue these up. Same thing, a little wiggle or crisscross pattern on there. The second tabletop or second section that I did was a lot tighter than the first. I learned a little from it. What I did learn is that you can't have enough clamps, that's for sure, and that those clamps that hook on the pieces of pipe, those are my favorite. Those are really, really good. Okay, stick these together and move them back and forth a couple times. Get that glue sitting on there, because they're just basically floating on the glue right now. Looks good. We can put our first clamp on here. This isn't going to take near as much force as those benches did. So we'll flush these here. We'll start by flushing one end. Now I'll stick one here roughly in the middle, making sure that I'm flushed and down. Then we'll put our third one on here. Making sure that we flush that up before we tighten it. So I thought I was going to get 2 clamped, but it just wasn't getting as tight as I liked it, so why rush it? I'll just put all the clamps on this one, let it dry. I've got plenty of other things to do in the meantime. So we'll push this out of the way and let it sit. And now it's time to see to our chisels. See what kind of shape those things came in. So several of you have inquired as to why a carpenter's bench needs to be so heavy duty, so thick and stout. And there's a couple reasons for that. You want the bench to be rock solid. And when you're chiseling or cutting, you don't want it to move about. Or if you're pounding on it, you want it to be very solid, like an anvil should be. You'll kind of see the demonstration. So let's say, for example, you want to cut a board on your bench. Watch how much movement there is in this little bench. Some of you might not be aware of this, but with carpentry saws, there's 2 different ways they cut. This is just kind of an inexpensive Japanese saw, and Japanese saws like this will cut on the pole. So as you're pulling it to yourself, that's when they cut. Where more traditional saws, traditional carpentry saws like this, we've all seen these here before, they cut on the push, when you push. Which one's better? I don't know that it's about that, if there's one better than the other one. It's just, for me, I think it just kind of falls down to preference. I've been using both of them here, cutting all the ends off these boards, and I think I prefer the pole cut. Kind of exciting. This is our first project on the partially completed new workbench. So our Stanley chisels, before we can use them, they need a lot of work, a lot of things done to them. So you can see here, this is a traditional socket style chisel, and how you remove that socket is you hold it there by the socket, and then you gently tap it on the bench, and the handles will just come right out. This is a nice feature in that you can replace it. If you have a particular task where you want to use a longer handle, you can have multiple handles for your chisel. Here's a keen cutter, a handle that I made. So don't think when you see that handle gap right there that that is a poor fit. That's actually the way they should be fit. These here, traditionally what you would do is every time you pick up your socket chisel before you use it, you'd grab it by the socket and you'd smack it down on your workbench, ensuring that you have a nice tight fit. You shouldn't have any wiggle there, because you don't want that loose. You don't want to pick this thing up and drop it on the floor and then mar all of your very hard work. Chisels need to really, really be looked after once you get them sharp. So first thing we'll do is remove these, and of course they're covered with some sort of a varnish, and we'll deal with that. But right now the problem we have is the blade. The chisel body itself is completely covered in lacquer. This lacquer is pretty tough to get off. I soaked the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch, or what is it, 3/4, 1/2 and the 3/4 inch chisels in gasoline overnight. Didn't even phase them. I soaked them last night in lacquer thinner, and that seems to have done the trick. So the whole thing's just covered in lacquer, and so I'll just get off the remnants, because we definitely don't want that on there. Here you can see, right there, you can see where I scratched it. You can see that it's still on there. You can see it's starting to come off. It doesn't come off easy, and I don't know that I'm getting it all off here. Yeah, that's doing it. So, but again, that's been soaking for almost 24 hours, and still it's going to take quite a bit of effort. There, you can see it bubbling up there to get that silly stuff off there. I understand why they do that. You know, these things have got to ship. They shipped in a leather case with wooden handles, and they could go anywhere. You know, they could be in a Connex box overseas and on a saltwater ocean liner. So I know why they have to put some sort of protectant on it. A little oil would be a lot less effort, but it's probably not considered by the EPA to be environmentally friendly, but this whole process of a lacquer booth, well, let's not confuse common sense with government, or use those two words in the same sentence. I'll tell you, that was no small thing getting that lacquer off there. I finally had to take it over to the wire brush on my bench grinder to get that stuff off around here. Insidious coating, so unnecessary. Okay, so I want to show you what a properly sharpened chisel looks like versus a factory sharpened chisel. They'll tell you that they come sharp, but I'll assure you that they don't. They don't know anything about sharp at factories. The only way to get a chisel truly sharp is by the hands of a craftsman, not by an automated machine. Which one do you think is sharper? You see? So here is the 1/2 inch. This is the one that I have been working on. So you can see there, a very fine 8000 grit mirror polish on there. And on the back, you see the machine works, all properly flattened out to the tip. You can see your image in there. It looks just like a mirror. That is very sharp. Contrast that with the factory edge, which at face value you might take as sharp. It feels kind of sharp, but it's not sharp. You see all the tool marks in there? Look there on the back. You see all the striations there? That's all from the milling process. I mean, it feels smooth, but it can't be compared with this. So I'll take you through the process of a sharpening chisel. We'll sharpen this 3/4 inch here, and then of course I sanded all of the lacquer off of the handle as well. You can see there, hand rubbed boiled linseed oil, opposed to the factory one. See how glossy it is. Very slippery in the hand. Very feels plasticky. This feels like a chisel should feel. It feels like wood. There, that chisel's ready for work right there. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Nice handle, feels good in the hand. I haven't used these. I don't know how well the edges are going to hold up on the Sweetheart chisels. I've read a lot about them. Guys said they've had real good luck with them. Good steel. But the shape is, you can't deny that that is a wonderful, wonderful shape. Not bad for a $20 chisel in my book. Happiness is a sharp chisel. Well, it is for me anyway. Man, this is a fun series. I'm really enjoying this. Enjoying sharing it, the whole process. I've had a few people a little dismayed that it's not moving along fast enough, that they're not being entertained. That's the way it seems. But this is not about just the project. It's about the experience. So if you're looking just simply for the facts and dimensions and how to, there's channels for that. But this is for those of us who enjoy the lifestyle and try to enjoy the experience. So that's what it's about. So I've got some videos for you. Top left, how to winterize your small engines. If you haven't done it already, it's time to do that. Top right is how to fix a flat tire anywhere. Major holes you can do yourself by putting together this simple kit that can really save you a lot of trouble. The bottom left is a day we went and visited the Mormon cannery. For those of you who don't know, the Mormons have canneries all over the country, and you can go there and donate your time. In exchange, they'll pack your food for you, or can food for you. Or you can buy it pre-canned. It's a great value, and we get that buy it for our food stores. And bottom right is the essential mechanics hand tools, a kit that you need to have in your shop that you should start putting together. So that's it. Take a moment and click the thumbs up, and if you would, please, and we'll see you guys on the next video.